Have you noticed how, anywhere in the world, the Jewish community has a strong presence in business, senior management, and the financial sector? Whether in commerce, real estate, technology, or investments, Jews have always been among the most successful, even in adverse situations. But is this just a coincidence, or is there a set of principles that explain this phenomenon? Throughout history, Jews have faced persecution, economic crises, and drastic changes in various parts of the world. They were expelled from countries, had their assets confiscated, and many times were prevented from exercising certain professions. However, instead of succumbing to hardship, they reinvented themselves, developed unique skills, and created strategies that ensured their prosperity for centuries. This success did not come from a stroke of luck, but rather from a financial mindset that is very different from what most people learn. What separates those who accumulate wealth from those who are always chasing money is not just how much they earn, but how they think and act about finances. While most people focus on earning money to cover expenses and maintain a comfortable lifestyle, Jews see money as a tool that needs to be used intelligently to generate even more resources. This way of seeing wealth is transmitted from generation to generation and has become a powerful differential. And the good news is that these principles are not an inaccessible secret. Anyone, regardless of their background or current financial condition, can learn and apply these teachings to transform their life. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. Let's explore the 5 hidden secrets behind Jewish financial prosperity and how you can use them to build stability, security, and financial growth over time. But before you continue, think for a moment about your relationship with money. Do you feel like you're in control of your finances, or does it seem like money is never enough, no matter how hard you work? Do you have a plan to build wealth, or are you just trying to save what's left over at the end of the month? These questions are essential because the way you see money today will define where you will be financially in the coming years. And that's why I want you to stay with me until the end of this video. Throughout this conversation, you will discover strategies that can completely change your relationship with money and help you take concrete steps towards financial independence. Best of all, you don't need a large startup capital to get started. You just need knowledge and the right mindset to apply those teachings strategically. So, take advantage of this moment to make sure you are already subscribed to the channel. Here, we talk about the real financial secrets that few people know and bring practical strategies for those who want to grow financially smartly. If you want to learn how to build wealth and ensure a prosperous future, this is the right place for you. Now, without further ado, let's get right to it. First secret, the power of financial adaptation. The history of the Jewish community is living proof that adaptation is not just a differentiator, but the basis of financial survival and continuous growth. While many see stability as something fixed, a guaranteed job, a single source of income, or an unchanging business model, Jews have always seen prosperity differently, as a dynamic system where flexibility and intelligence are essential to maintain and evolve. This adaptation mentality is one of the main secrets why the Jewish community has thrived over the centuries, even in the face of extreme challenges. Not only did they survive the changes, but they used them to their advantage to create new opportunities. When they were forbidden to own land, they became merchants. When they were excluded from commerce, they created banking and financial networks. When new barriers emerged, they reinvented themselves again, migrating to areas such as technology, law, medicine, and other high-demand sectors. It wasn't luck, it was strategy. This ability to quickly adjust to circumstances makes all the difference when it comes to financial prosperity. While most people cling to what they already know and resist change, Jews see crises as moments of transition and opportunities for growth. They don't wait for the scenario to improve before taking action. They anticipate and make the necessary adjustments before the majority. And this principle continues to work today. If we look at the sectors that have grown the most in recent decades, technology, investments, startups, and large business conglomerates, we will see a marked Jewish presence. This is no coincidence. These are people who have understood that the true secret of wealth lies in the ability to predict trends, make strategic decisions, and act before others perceive the opportunity. Now, How can we apply this principle in practice? The answer starts with a change in mindset. Many people still believe that it is enough to follow a single path to ensure financial stability. For a long time, this made sense. In the past, a college degree and a steady job were almost a guarantee of financial security and comfort. But today, the job market is changing at an impressive rate. Professions are emerging and disappearing rapidly, and the business models that worked 10 years ago may be completely obsolete now. The first lesson here is clear. Never depend on a single source of income. This does not mean abandoning your career or the business you have already built, but rather, understanding that diversification is essential for financial security. If your only source of income is a paycheck, what happens if you lose your job? If your only investment is your own business, what happens if the market changes? The key is to always be prepared to reinvent yourself, creating new possibilities and exploring different paths. The second lesson is to develop new skills that have market value. The mistake of many people is to believe that they can follow the same strategy for years without making adjustments. Those who settle down lose space. Those who master different areas can adapt quickly when necessary. This not only means learning new professions, but also understanding emerging trends and opportunities that can be seized before the majority. Today, there are countless ways to diversify your income and prepare for the future. Investments, entrepreneurship, digital economy, and even changes within your own area of expertise are possible paths. But the most important thing is to always be up to date, observing what is growing and positioning yourself before the market is saturated. A practical example of this is the growth of technology-related professions. While some people see automation and artificial intelligence as threats to the job market, others see a unique opportunity to specialize and stand out. The same is true of areas such as digital marketing, e-commerce, and content creation, which continue to expand rapidly. Those who understand this dynamic and anticipate changes have a huge advantage over those who only react when it is too late. But financial adaptation does not only involve the choice of career or investments. It is present in the way we deal with money on a daily basis. Jews have always had an extremely hands-on approach when it comes to finances. Instead of resisting change, they adjust their strategies as needed. If an investment model becomes less profitable, they look for new alternatives. If a market declines, they migrate to more promising sectors. This flexibility allows your wealth to continue growing, regardless of the economic scenario. Another essential point is the ability to identify trends before they become obvious. Many of the world's largest investors and entrepreneurs don't wait for an opportunity to be consolidated to enter. They study, analyze, and make decisions based on what's yet to come. This principle can be applied to any area, from investments in the financial market to career choices and business strategies. Those who wait too long to act often miss the best opportunities. True financial security does not come from stability, but from the ability to adapt. The world changes, the rules of the game change, and if you're not prepared to evolve, you risk being left behind. The Jews understood that the secret of financial longevity lies in constant reinvention. They don't dwell on the past, don't insist on outdated strategies, and aren't afraid to change direction when necessary. Second secret, the strategic use of discomfort. If there's one common element among all financial success stories, it's the fact that none of them were built on absolute comfort. Every great transformation goes through a moment of tension, uncertainty, and questioning. But while most people shy away from discomfort, Jews have learned to use it as a driver of growth and prosperity. Since ancient times, this mentality has been developed and passed down from generation to generation. Jews have always understood that growth only happens when you face challenges head-on, and not when you avoid any kind of difficulty. This principle is present in many areas of Jewish life, from the way they educate their children to the way they conduct their business. Discomfort is seen as a powerful tool for learning and evolution. Think for a moment of any great entrepreneur, investor, or financial leader. If we look at their trajectories, we will see that the moment of greatest transformation has always come after a period of crisis, uncertainty, or forced change. The difference is that, while many retreat in these moments, those who understand the true meaning of discomfort use it as fuel to make strategic decisions. In Jewish culture, this principle manifests itself in various ways. A classic example is the way young Jews are encouraged to question from an early age. In the traditional education system, many children are taught to simply accept information without challenge. In the Jewish tradition, asking questions is an essential habit. In debates and religious studies, questioning the logic behind a teaching is not only allowed, but encouraged. This exercise develops a critical and strategic mindset, which is essential for facing challenges and making smart decisions in the financial world. Now, think about how this applies to finance and business. Many people avoid talking about money, questioning their own financial decisions, or even reviewing their spending habits. They prefer to stay in their comfort zone, following the same path as always, without evaluating whether this path is actually leading to growth. The problem with this approach is that, by avoiding the discomfort of confronting reality, they end up getting stuck in the same financial cycle. Jews, on the other hand, understand that the only way to grow is to face uncomfortable truths head-on. They constantly analyze their finances, their investments, and their business, looking for ways to optimize their results. They're not afraid to ask, does this strategy still work? Am I really taking advantage of every opportunity? What can I do differently to increase my earnings? This habit of constant questioning keeps them always one step ahead. And this does not only mean reviewing numbers and investments, it also means challenging yourself to constantly learn something new. Those who keep to the same routine, without seeking intellectual growth, end up stagnating. Jews have always valued continuous learning. Whether in the academic field, in business, or in finance, they know that the more knowledge one acquires, the more opportunities arise. Another essential point of this principle is the relationship with economic crises and moments of instability. Most people fear financial crises because they see in them only danger and uncertainty. But Jews have always seen these moments differently, as camouflaged opportunities. They understand that when the economy goes through a crisis, new opportunities arise for those who are prepared. Just look at history. During periods of recession, many of the world's greatest fortunes were built by people who knew how to identify opportunities in the midst of chaos. While most despaired and retreated, these visionaries invested in undervalued assets, bought up struggling companies, and positioned their businesses to grow when the economy recovered. That's a big lesson. Opportunities rarely come when everything is comfortable. They arise in the moments of greatest uncertainty. Those who can stay calm and see beyond the collective panic can make strategic decisions that generate wealth in the long run. But how to apply this in practice? The first step is to reprogram your mindset so as not to run away from discomfort, but to use it to your advantage. Whenever you feel afraid of changing something in your financial life, stop and reflect. Does this fear come from a real risk, or just from the fear of leaving your comfort zone? Then start asking tough questions about your own financial decisions. Are you investing in the best possible way? Does your income depend on something unstable, and that can be diversified? Are you learning new skills that can increase your earning potential? If the answer is no, then it might be time to get off autopilot and take action. Another way to apply this principle is to deliberately expose yourself to situations that challenge your thinking. Read books about finance and business, talk to more experienced people, attend events, and always be open to new ideas. The more contact you have with different ways of looking at the financial world, the easier it will be to identify opportunities that most people don't realize. Also, instead of seeing crises as threats, try to analyze them as tools for learning and growth. If you've lost money on an investment, instead of just regretting it, ask yourself, what can I learn from it? How can I avoid this mistake in the future? If a business opportunity didn't work out, instead of giving up, analyze the weaknesses and adjust your strategy for the next attempt. Finally, one of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that they need to be completely ready before taking action. But the truth is that no one is 100% prepared for big changes. What really makes the difference is the willingness to learn along the way. The Jews understood that financial growth doesn't happen when everything is perfect, but rather when you put yourself in the position of constantly learning, adjusting, and improving. Now I want you to reflect on your own financial journey. Have you been avoiding discomforts that could lead you to growth? Are you afraid to question your own decisions? Do you feel prepared to see opportunities even in difficult times? Share your reflections in the comments and how you intend to apply this principle in your life. Let's build a path of growth and learning together. Third secret, the psychology of money and the power of personal narrative. The way you see yourself in the financial world defines your relationship with money and, consequently, determines your success or failure. It may seem like a small detail, but your mindset affects your decisions, your actions, and even the opportunities you can see. The Jews understand this as few do. They do not see themselves as victims of the system, but as creators of their own wealth. This mindset is not born by chance. It is taught from an early age, shaping the way they face money, investments, and business throughout their lives. Unlike the traditional view that many people carry about finance, where money is treated as something difficult to come by or as a constant problem, Jews are taught to see it as a tool, a resource that can be controlled, multiplied, and put to work in their favor. This detail changes everything. While some spend their lives trying to make money reactively, waiting for luck to change, or for a perfect opportunity to appear, Jews take an active role in their financial journey. They don't wait for the conditions to be favorable. They create the conditions. And that mindset makes all the difference. Think about it. If you see yourself as someone who is always struggling to pay bills, who never has enough money, or who relies on external factors to thrive, your mind will automatically direct your actions to confirm this reality. Their decisions will be guided by scarcity, fear of losing money, and a lack of long-term vision. You avoid risks, fail to take advantage of opportunities, and end up reinforcing the same financial cycle. Now compare that to someone who sees himself as a creator of wealth. This person does not see money only as a means of survival, but as a tool for growth and expansion. She seeks to learn about investments, undertake, identify opportunities, and build an asset that works for her. And here's the key point. She acts like this before she even has a lot of money. This identity shift is what leads to real growth. If you analyze the trajectory of many investors, entrepreneurs, and big names in the financial world, you will see that their financial success began long before they made large amounts of money. It started when they decided to behave like prosperous people, even when they weren't yet. They invested in their own education, changed the way they saw opportunities, and took control of their finances. Wealth was a consequence of this change in mentality. Jews apply this principle in various areas of life. Within families, money is not a forbidden subject or surrounded by negative beliefs. On the contrary, children learn from an early age about how the financial system works, about investments, about business, and about the importance of thinking about the long term. They are encouraged to believe that they can build prosperity, regardless of the circumstances. This creates adults who see money intelligently and not as something that simply comes and goes unchecked. But what about you? How have you seen money? Do you see yourself as someone struggling to make ends meet, or as someone building a strong financial future? Your way of thinking directly influences your decisions. Therefore, if you want to change your results, you first need to change your financial identity. The first step to this is to reprogram your beliefs about money. If you grew up hearing that money is hard to earn, that only rich people can invest, or that great opportunities are only for a select group of privileged people, it's time to question these ideas. Think about it. How many financial decisions have you made based on fear or the belief that you weren't capable of achieving more? How many times have you stopped investing, starting a business, or changing your strategy because you believed you didn't have the necessary knowledge or resources? If your mindset is programmed for scarcity, you will always find a reason not to act. One of the most powerful ways to change this is to surround yourself with people who have a positive financial mindset. Jews value the concept of community and networking because they understand that the environment in which you are inserted shapes your worldview. If you live with people who see money as something negative or unattainable, you are likely to absorb these beliefs. But if you connect with people who talk about investing, financial strategies, and wealth creation, the way you think about money starts to change naturally. And this transformation doesn't happen overnight, but starts with small steps. By changing your financial identity, You start making smarter decisions. You start to seek knowledge, to analyze opportunities with a vision of growth, and to see money as something that can be controlled and multiplied. You get out of the survival mindset and into the construction mindset. What differentiates those who accumulate wealth from those who are always chasing money is not only how much they earn, but the way they face their own financial potential. If you see yourself as someone who tries to make money, you'll always be struggling to keep up. But if you start to see yourself as someone who builds wealth, your actions will change, and over time, so will your bottom line. Fourth secret, the rule of the invisible 10%. Imagine that every time you receive money, a part of it simply disappears. You don't see it, you don't miss it, and you don't count on it to pay bills or cover day-to-day expenses. Does it sound strange? Because this is one of the most powerful strategies used by those who build wealth over time. Jews follow a simple but extremely effective principle. At least 10% of income is never touched. This money is invested or reinvested immediately, even before it is considered for anything else. It's as if it never existed, but over the years it silently grows and multiplies. Most people do the opposite. First, they receive their salary, pay bills, cover day-to-day expenses, and if there is something left, they think about saving. But there is almost never any leftover. There is always an unexpected expense, a last-minute invitation, a desire to buy that seems irresistible. And when they realize they have spent another month without saving anything, without investing, and without creating a financial cushion that guarantees them security and growth. This cycle repeats itself for years and years, and when the concern about the future finally hits, the feeling of backwardness is inevitable. The difference in the Jewish mentality lies exactly in the way money is treated before it is even used. There is no room for the uncertainty of seeing if there is left. The rule is clear. You invest first, spend later. It doesn't matter if the income is high or low, the principle is the same. This money is treated as a non-negotiable commitment, as a tax that needs to be paid. But unlike taxes, that amount doesn't disappear. It quietly works into the future. And the most interesting thing is that this habit does not depend on the initial amount. Many people think they can only invest when they're making a lot of money. But the truth is that starting small and maintaining consistency over the years is infinitely more powerful than waiting to have a large amount to start with. Constant small deposits create big results when added up over time. If you look at the big investors, you'll see that this strategy is applied almost universally. Warren Buffett, for example, didn't build his fortune by winning the lottery or a single extraordinary investment. It simply took a consistent investment and reinvestment approach, allowing compound interest to do the heavy lifting. This principle is deeply rooted in Jewish culture, where money is not just something to be earned and spent, but a resource to be cultivated. So how can you apply this principle in your own life? The first step is simple. Automatically schedule at least 10% of your income for investments. Once the money enters the account, this amount must be separated and directed to a specific destination before you have a chance to spend it. If possible, automate this transfer to an investment account. The less effort it takes to maintain this discipline, the easier it is to make it an unbreakable habit. The second step is to make this money invisible. This means that it may not be accessible for impulsive withdrawals or trivial emergencies. This amount should not be accounted for in the monthly budget, nor considered for superfluous expenses. It simply exists in the background, accumulating and growing over time without interference. The less temptation there is to touch that money, the greater your chance of sustainable growth. The third step, and perhaps the most difficult for many people, is to focus on the long term. Impatience is one of the greatest enemies of wealth building. Many people give up halfway because they don't see immediate results. But those who follow this strategy and maintain consistency find that the first few years may be slow, but the gains become exponential over the decades. The cumulative effect of compound interest and well-targeted investments creates a snowball effect, where growth accelerates over time. And don't think that this strategy only applies to traditional investments, such as stocks and real estate funds. This money can be used to acquire income-generating assets, such as rental properties, staking in businesses, or even reinvesting in knowledge and skills that increase your earning potential. The important thing is that he is never standing still, but working to build something bigger. Another advantage of this principle is that it creates a healthy relationship with money. Many people live in constant financial anxiety because they never feel like they have enough. When money is treated only as a means to cover expenses and maintain a lifestyle, it becomes a vicious cycle where the person is always chasing after more, without ever really building wealth. But when you adopt this approach of investing before spending, the feeling of security increases, as there is a growing asset that does not depend on daily work to continue evolving. Now think about the impact that this simple change can have on your life. Imagine looking back 10 years from now and realizing that without needing sudden big gains or lucky breaks, you built a solid wealth just by following this principle in a disciplined way. Think about what it would be like to live more financially securely, knowing that your money is growing even when you're not actively working for it. Small decisions made intelligently today can define a much more peaceful and prosperous future. If this insight made sense to you, enjoy and leave the like on this video. This helps me to continue bringing content that really makes a difference in your financial life. And of course, if you want to learn even more of the Jewish people's proven strategies for building wealth consistently, pay close attention to the next secret. Fifth secret, the importance of strategic silence. Quiet prosperity is one of the most powerful weapons for anyone who wants to build wealth consistently and lastingly. In Jewish culture, there is a fundamental principle that few understand. True success does not need an audience. This does not mean that wealth should be hidden or that ostentation is prohibited, but rather that there is strength in strategic silence. Keeping a low profile about financial plans and strategic moves is not only a matter of humility, but also an effective way to protect the growth of your wealth against external interference, envy, and even impulsive decisions that can compromise your trajectory. Throughout history, many Jewish communities have faced challenges that required adaptation and wisdom. In times of persecution or economic instability, silence was a survival strategy. Instead of drawing attention to their prosperity, many families chose to act behind the scenes, ensuring that their wealth was preserved and multiplied without attracting unwanted glances. This mentality is reflected to this day in the behavior of many Jewish businessmen and investors who avoid disclosing their earnings or exposing their lifestyle in an excessive way. This is because the fewer people know about your financial plans, the less outside interference. There is a saying that goes, "When you talk too much about your goals, you diminish your strength to accomplish them." This is because by sharing plans ahead of time, you make room for other people's opinions, unnecessary criticism, and often the insecurity generated by the doubts of others. In addition, there is a risk that your projects will be replicated or that opportunities will be lost due to overexposure. In the world of business and investment, strategic silence is a powerful tool. Many of the most successful investors follow this principle to the letter. They don't publicly announce every move they make, nor do they share sensitive information about their investments before the right time. They understand that a plan needs to be solid before it can be released. A classic example is great businessmen who work for years building empires before they are even noticed by the public. This does not mean acting secretly or unethically, but rather ensuring that your projects are protected while they are still in the growth phase. Another important point is that excessive ostentation can generate unrealistic expectations and even attract problems. Financial discretion allows you to stay focused on what really matters, the sustainable growth of your wealth. When you avoid drawing attention to your wealth, you reduce the chances of being the target of scams, insistent requests for financial help, or even hasty decisions motivated by the need to maintain a successful public image. Many billionaires known for their financial intelligence live simply, without having to prove anything to anyone. This is one of the greatest signs of true financial freedom, having wealth, but not being a slave to it. Applying this principle in practical life starts with how you talk about money in your daily life. Avoid sharing details about your earnings and investments with people who don't need to know. Be careful when discussing financial strategies, even with close friends or family. This doesn't mean that you can't seek guidance or exchange knowledge, but rather that you should choose well who to share this information with. Surrounding yourself with people who are trustworthy, and have a similar mindset to yours is essential to ensure that your decisions are based on logic and strategy, and not on the need for external validation. Also, learn to differentiate between times when exposure can be beneficial and when it can be harmful. For example, in the business world, there are times when it is necessary to present a project to investors, share a vision with the team, or even disclose strategic achievements to strengthen your authority in the market. However, this should be done with planning and moderation. Overstating your plans ahead of time can create unnecessary expectations and even attract unexpected competition. Another key aspect of strategic silence is patience. In a world where social media encourages the pursuit of instant validation, it's tempting to share every little accomplishment or financial progress. However, building wealth is a long-term process, and many of the best opportunities arise for those who know how to wait for the right time to act. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors in the world, always reinforces that the secret to success lies in patience and planning, and not in the need to prove something to others. Additionally, it is important to understand that financial discretion also involves how you manage your assets. Instead of focusing solely on accumulating visible money, such as luxury cars, mansions, and expensive items, prioritize assets that actually make your wealth grow. Quiet investments such as real estate, stocks, and strategic businesses are often more effective than extravagant displays of wealth. The application of this principle can be a great differential in your financial life. If you want to build a lasting legacy and maintain its stability, start practicing the discipline of strategic silence. Instead of announcing your plans ahead of time, focus on executing them. Instead of worrying about others' opinions about your financial situation, direct your energy towards enhancing your growth strategy. After everything we have talked about so far, it is clear that prosperity does not happen by chance. There is a set of principles that have been applied for centuries, and that make all the difference for those who want to build wealth in a strategic and lasting way. Financial success is not just the result of hard work, but of knowledge, mindset, and targeted action. The Jews understood this long ago, and so they continue to prosper generation after generation. Each pillar we discuss here carries a valuable lesson, from the importance of adapting to economic changes and identifying new opportunities to the power of strategic silence, which protects your achievements and prevents outside influences from hindering your growth. You have also seen how the psychology of money defines your relationship with finances, and how the way you see your own ability to generate wealth can be a watershed in your trajectory. Small adjustments in the way you think can completely transform your results in the long run. The big question that remains now is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Because in the end, knowing something without applying it does not generate any change. You can fully understand the principles that make the richest people in the world prosper, but if you keep making the same old financial decisions, nothing will change. Knowledge only becomes powerful when it is put into practice. And this is where the difference lies between those who achieve financial freedom and those who spend their entire lives struggling to pay the bills. Now tell me, which of these pillars made the most sense to you? In which one do you realize you need to evolve? Leave your comment below and let's continue this conversation. I want to know what insights you had and how you intend to apply them in your daily life. And if this content made sense to you, take the opportunity to leave the like. Thus, you help me to continue bringing materials that really transform the way you deal with money. If you want to learn even more financial strategies used by millionaires to grow and protect their wealth, don't leave here. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to put these strategies into practice in a simple and effective way. Click here and find out how to transform your financial life.